But, in the meantime, Janet Long, she is joining us right now from the International Space Station.
I know. I'm sorry. I couldn't figure out how to get my background changed because the format's a little different from what I'm used to. But I'll keep working on it. Oh, here we go. I can get it done. Now just give me a minute.
I don't know. I like that look from the space. I mean, come on.
You do? You do? Okay, well, it's here we go. Okay, how about that?
Oh, okay. Now we know who you are.
There you go. Nice to see you, Al.
Hey, Janet, good talking to you. I've hosted a number of programs with Pinellas County commissioners, looking back at the year and looking ahead and all those kind of things. But so we're just going to have a conversation here with some of the questions that I've heard and some of the questions that the chamber would like me to ask. And let me start with, so how long have you been on the county commission?
I'm finishing my 8th year.
Wow.
Well, I know.
Yeah, when you get to be over 50, I guess 8 years seems like longer, doesn't it?
It seems like just yesterday, and the work that we've accomplished has been huge. So I'm very proud of that.
So when I ask you why you're running, I think it's probably pretty obvious because you want to continue with what the commission has been doing for years, correct?
Absolutely. And for me, Al, it's really a labor of love. I enjoy being on the county commission because we have an incredible group of people that are very good at building collaboration. We're respectful and civil, and we have this very spirited conversations, but at the end of the day, we take our votes and we move on. So we get along, which is fabulous.
So I know that on the county level, being a Republican or Democrat, as far as the commission is concerned, is not supposed to be that big a deal because you're tend to vote for the person. But I often wonder that in some cities, and Tampa's an example where you have almost a completely Democratic commission, whether that really serves the people well in getting a number of other ideas that are brought into what you hear from the voters.
Well, I'm not exactly sure why there is such a big deal made about the partisan initial behind your name, because I can tell you that the makeup of this commission is just extraordinary in the terms of not once in 8 years have we had any issue that has been divisive because of partisan politics. Not once.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. So let's go through some of the questions. So do you think the commission is doing enough in regards to COVID-19? And let me just also paint the picture that there seems to be a tremendous misunderstanding about what the county is responsible for, the state is responsible for, and what the nation is responsible for. So let's start with the first part. What is the commission responsible for when it comes to COVID-19?
The commission is responsible for public health and safety. And quite frankly, I'm very proud of the work that we have done during this pandemic, because when we first started, let's face it, we're moving through unprecedented, challenging circumstances with a new virus that we're still learning every single day new things about it. And so trying to ensure that our citizens remain safe, that we got a handle on the lack of protocols within the nursing homes and the adult congregate living facilities. That was huge. Every one of the staff have been on the front lines working 24/7. And I'm really proud of what we've done, Al, and let me tell you why. In a recent poll that was done, 85% of our citizens approve of the work that Pinellas County has been doing with our mandate on masking, social distancing, and washing your hands vigorously all the time. It's made a difference. Our numbers are down.
So let's talk about a little thing, and maybe you can help explain it, what went on. And this is the layman's explanation. So the commission voted 4-3 to allow your Mr. Burton, the county administrator, to make a decision about when you're going to allow people not to have to wear masks. And it was a vote 4-3. And I'm not saying it's divisive, but some of the people that voted against it were very strong because they said that the rule that was passed wouldn't allow citizen comment. Now, is that true, that or
No,
will it still
no,
allow? Okay.
No, it is not true.
Okay.
Secondly, I'm the one that made the motion. to delegate the authority on the emergency order.
Okay.
We were meeting every single week, Al, every single week for a couple of months now. We have been meeting, and our meetings, quite frankly, have been sabotaged and hijacked by a small group of people, 20, maybe 30, that get on every week. It's the same people every week, every week, every week, and they say the same thing. But the reason I felt so strongly about the motion was because our workshops are supposed to be for the commissioners to get our work done, to be able to deliberate about what's coming on the next agenda. And because we have spent hours in public testimony, we haven't been able to do the work, and the work is piling up. So we are going to be taking public testimony at our regularly scheduled county commission meetings, which are twice a month. And we had to meet every single week because we were voting on the emergency order. But now the county administrator can make that decision every week until, and we were very specific about putting timeframes around it, until the medical professionals and the research and scientists come to us with a recommendation about what the metrics should be in order to lift the mandate. So as long as we're not taking a vote, then we can conduct our work at our workshops, and we can listen to the public when we have our regularly scheduled meetings. So
well, that's good. That's good to get that straightened out. So
thank you.
You know, let's be real candid about this. And I don't know how you do this. You want public input. Everybody does. And I've been at school board meetings. I've been at county commission meetings where you see that there are some people that tend, even in St. Petersburg, that tend to dominate that 3 to 5. Is it 3 minutes or 5 minutes for the county?
It's 3 minutes, except because of the number of people that were calling in, we had to limit it to 2. And here's the thing. It has become like a live Facebook forum. People have lost their ability to be civil. They're saying anything and everything that comes to their mind, just like you read on Facebook. That's not what public policy is supposed to be surrounded by. And you were forgetting about the fact that we have almost 1 million people in this county that have no opportunity to say anything, because we couldn't possibly listen to millions of, hundreds of thousands of people every time we have a meeting. That's why we have various forms of communication, like our email, which has been inundated.
Oh, I bet. Social media has been a blessing, but it's also been a curse along that way.
It
so
is,
I mean,
absolutely.
we could spend the whole half hour talking about that. Again, you want input, but you want honest input across the board, and that's what's hard. And social media has not made that easier; it's made it worse, in my opinion. So let's move on to some of the other things that the council members are concerned about. Do you support the proposed changes to the coastal high hazard area rules to allow applications for density increases contingent upon more resilient building requirements and increased payment into the Hurricane Shelter Fund? That's from one of the chamber members that asked that question.
I support it, Al, as long as they are paying attention to all of the new and extraordinary opportunities they are to do it and do it right. And the reason I know that is because I had the luxury of spending some time in the Netherlands, and we went to several of the research and development firms where they have developed an expertise. The Dutch have been living with the rising and fall of the sea for centuries.
Right.
They made a lot of mistakes, but they figured out how to do it and do it safely. So as long as we can do that and build so that it's actually affordable at some level for people to live there, and you're not exposing people unnecessarily to risk of loss of life and health and safety, I'm good with it.
So another conversation that I had with my son, who's a doctor, and my brother, who's out in California, I'll just say that, he's out in California. We were talking about this whole idea, and I know that planners have always talked about, well, you want to actually increase density to a certain point so that services are better used so that you can do mass transit. However, do you think people are going to be rethinking this whole density thing because of COVID-19. Because what city got hit worse? One of the most densely populated
New
cities in
York.
the world, New York. Now, I know
Correct.
Pinellas County densely. So do you think we'll ever be rethinking density, especially along US 19? Because, man, I see so many apartment complexes just boom, boom, boom.
Well, I serve on Forward Pinellas, as you may or may not know, and we are having deep, thoughtful discussions on that very issue. So while I don't think that we're totally planning to reinvent the whole wheel, I
Mhm.
know that we are being very thoughtful about what we're doing, and we are working very hard on public transportation options. And here's the thing I think that also needs to be thrown into this conversation. There are so many new and rising forms of technology that will make the way we do things in the future so much easier and more cost effective that
Mhm.
I think the future is actually very, very bright if we can just keep our heads about us and not go off on some ridiculous tangent that, causes us to make stupid mistakes. And I don't think we will.
Okay, let me just get a quick yes or no on this because I don't want to spend too much time. Do you support using tourist tax dollars to fund a new stadium for the Rays or Rowdies, even if the Rays split their season? Yes or no? Is it, or are you still, you have to wait and see.
Well, first of all, a lot of those dollars are restricted.
Right.
Number two, we don't know enough about what the real plans are. And number three, I am open to having discussions about almost anything, and I am working very hard to not land on a yes or a no
Okay, that's fine.
when there's so much that we don't know, because I think that's irresponsible.
Here's another one. Would you support putting a sales tax surcharge referendum like Hillsborough County did on transportation and transit on the ballot in 2022? Even though this thing in Hillsborough is still in the courts, that's a whole nother bag.
I think that we've learned a lot from what they've done in Hillsborough County. But one thing I know, transportation, even our roads, have never been for free.
Yeah.
That's part of one of the jobs of government, to figure that out and figure it out in a way that makes it feasible for us to get big projects done. So with that said, you know that I've been on the front lines of the transportation issue for the last, really, I've been working on it in some manner or form for almost 45 or 50 years. And I know that we are 40 years behind the times in terms of how we've addressed it in this county and in this region.
In the Bay,
And
yeah.
for 6 years, I worked for 6 years to get that $21.8 million from the feds. We have another project that we have not unveiled yet that we're going to start working on, God willing. I'm fortunate enough to win election in November. And the Secretary of Transportation has already said, come on up. I'm anxious to hear what you have to say, because she loved the whole piece about the Sunrunner line,
Okay,
which
that's
is the beginning of the Catalyst project to link our region together for the first time ever.
Here's the crazy thing. You know, this region is linked together better by the bicycle trails than it is by the roads.
This is true, but we're working on that. And here's, we can't, literally, it's unrealistic to think that we can build our way out of congestion with roads. We don't have any more land.
Mm-hmm. All right, Janet Long. And by the way, her opponent, Larry Ahern, chose not to participate in this forum. So Janet, just want to say, always good knowing you personally. And thank you so much for your time, and good luck in November for County Commission District Number 1.
Thank you. Thank you, Al. Nice to see you. Goodbye, everybody.